here. Thank you so much. Let me see. I noticed I have people from India here. You're welcome. I have people from Oregon. I have people from Hollywood. I have people from all over. And thank you so much for joining me. This is my first live stream related to education. Usually I just do it for fun and not very often. So bear with me here. And I'm going to start just by saying what was the purpose of me, trying to get into this, starting this live stream. And there are three things that I really like a lot. Number one is teamwork. I love working as a team. I like to know that I'm part of a team. I like to know that I have somebody's back, and I know that, somebody has my back. And I think that this year somehow, when we went to our houses and we couldn't be in the school and that community, it felt a little bit like lonely, So I want to kind of build some teamwork. So when the next year start, I have some, feel more like part of a team, people I can talk to, get some ideas, and do that. So that's one thing. Another thing I love is to learn and to reflect. And I think I have a lot of reflection to do. I've been trying to reflect. Hold on, my cat is, my cat's trying to be part of this stream.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry. Well, that's the live thing. Anyway, so I'm trying to reflect, and I feel like if I could reflect with other people, that would make my reflection even better, and I would learn some of your reflections that would help me move forward for next year. And finally, I love to teach. I love, being with my students. I like to teach in a class, and I like to maybe help other people, teach other people. Maybe I have one trick that you can learn, and that would make me happy. And maybe you have tons of tricks that I can learn, and I would love that. So I would start also by saying, and in a minute, people that are joining the chat, you'll be welcome to come on the screen with me. There's a link that I can throw, and you can come up and we can discuss. You can share your experiences. I have some questions I like to ask, and then we'll learn from each other in the process. Okay, so I like to start while we're waiting for maybe some more people joining us. But if they don't join, it's okay too, because we're here, and that's great. Thank you so much for being here with me. So I like this quote a lot. I don't know where it comes from. It's not my quote, but I added a little thing to it. And the quote is, parents, and I added, and students, don't care what you know until they know that you care. So that's where I always coming from, is this place where, I care. And I notice in my professional experience that the parents I work with and the students I work with, they really, I guess they feel that I care. So when I don't know what to do, or I'm not, it's a brand new thing with technology. I wasn't a very technology savvy. So this has been really hard. And they were not, they were very forgiving, because they're like, okay, you care, you're trying to do your best here, so let's go and roll with you. So I'd like to know your experiences with that too. And so I'm just gonna set some norms, and then I think I have some people that I could possibly call on the screen that we can have a little conversation, okay? So the norms for this, this group, our little chat here today, is that we're all here to share, to learn, and to care. So in that sense, we're going to be respectful, we're going to be patient and supportive. So those are norm number one. And norm number two, also very important, is let's keep it positive. Let's try to find solutions and inspiration on this chat today, even if it's just, to kind of brainstorm and share. So the way this works, I'm going to throw a link on the chat. And let's see, I'll put a link over here. And let's see if it works. Here we go. So there is a link on the chat. So if you click on the link, they will let you come on the screen. And I would like to have somebody here that I could maybe ask some questions, and we can discuss how things went how the virtual learning, what was your experience? So there is the link if you like to click on it and then see if you can hook up on the screen. While we're doing that, so as we're discussing things on the chat, if you want to call somebody's attention, if eventually we get into a discussion like, about, and you want to ask them a question or something, you can always use the @ sign and put their name, and that will highlight their name, and they will know, oh, somebody's talking to me, and then it makes it easier on the chat. Oh, and right now I already have somebody here, and let me introduce this person before I bring her up, okay? There are some Facebook. Facebook has been my friend because there are a lot of groups. And in these groups, I have an ETK, early childhood group on Facebook, and that has saved my life because I don't know if I told you yet, I teach ETK, and ETK is a grade before kindergarten. My students are 4 years old, becoming 5. When they are with me, we celebrate all their birthdays turning 5, which is the cutest thing ever. And so this ETK early childhood group has helped me tremendously. And then recently I got into the Bitmoji group. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Bitmoji, but that is another terrific group of people that create this virtual little picture of a classroom and things that you can touch and get into those links. For instance, I've made one of my classroom and I have little children's books, like my kids' favorites, Pete the Cat and the Hungry Caterpillar. They touch on it and they go straight to a read aloud. And some people are creating amazing things on this Bitmoji. And in one of these groups, I saw somebody saying something super positive. And I'm like, I love your positivity. And I think she lives in Oregon. I don't know her, in person, but I already feel a strong connection. So here we go. Gonna bring her up. Hey, your mic is it sounds like
hello.
I'm like, unplug your mic. How are you, Deborah?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I can hear you. Why is that?
I don't know.
Turn your audio on.
It says
What?
everyone can hear me.
What do you mean?
From your computer. Is your audio muted?
My audio is not muted.
You sure?
Hold on, guys. Does that sound familiar with you guys the whole year with this? Yes, right? I don't know. My husband's talking about my audio.
Like, where you listen to the thing. Your speaker. Is your speaker off? It's probably off.
What do you mean, my speaker? Hold on, guys, please bear with me here. There was a trial run yesterday, but that wasn't.
Where's the speaker?
Let me.
Oh, here.
Okay, hold on.
It's
up all the way.
How about her thing? Is your mic on?
How about your thing, Deborah? Is your mic on all the way?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Oh.
That was perfect.
I did have to close the YouTube link because I was hearing you in 2 different speakers and the voice wasn't synced. So I did have to turn that off.
All right, I need to turn my sound off here a little bit. Hold on 1 second because we're going to guess what. So you can see just by this little demonstration how this year went for me, right? When we're like at school, cute playing with kids, and suddenly it's like, go home and figure this out on your computer. So, my quote was so important. So Deborah, tell us a little bit about you. I know you teach 5th grade, right?
I do. I just finished my 14th year teaching. Most of it was in Arizona and in Tucson. And then I did 2 years on the Thana'atam Native Indigenous Peoples Reservation. And then my husband and I and my daughter, we moved to Oregon. My husband's from Oregon and retired, so we moved here. And now I teach on the Siletz Nation. So I finished my 1st year here. I teach 5th grade this year, but I've taught kindergarten through 6th grade. I'm also certified in gifted, so I started the gifted program on the Thana'atam Nation. So that's me. I can't respond and comment back. StreamYard doesn't let me have a comment box. So hi, everybody. I see you, but I'm not able to answer.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm on the screen on somebody else's, I use my phone as a way to have the text going too. It makes it easier. But let's see. Yes. So how did Deborah? How did the transition go for you? Like, were you in a physical school and go
Well,
home?
it was a little bit crazy, like it was for everybody, I think. But we were not a one-to-one district. We had minimal computers. We are a district-owned charter. So even though we have the label charter school, and I didn't particularly like charter schools when I was a public school teacher, we still fall under Lincoln County School District, but we are considered a charter, and we are K-12. And so we had maybe enough computers for the high school. So we were actually taking desktops out of our computer lab and sending those home. And then until we got some laptops purchased, Chromebooks purchased, and those started to go out. So for March and April, it was a little bit rough. We had a lot of families, really frustrated, which is understandable. A lot of uncertainty. So people tend to panic and show their frustration with anger or just silence. So once we got some computers out, things started to go a little bit better. And then school ended for us the first week of June. So we're technically on summer break.
Yes. We here in AUSD, we are also on summer break. A lot of teachers are taking a lot of training. I didn't realize that there were going to be so many trainings this week. And so I said this, and everybody said, I can't go there. I have a training. Anyway, so Deborah, give me a second. I'm going to bring one more person to the screen, and then somebody else that was waiting. So please come back if you want to still be on the screen with us. And we add Irma to the screen with us. Hi, Irma. Is your camera off? The sound off. I think there's camera and sound off. Irma, are you with us?
Hi there. Good morning. I am.
Oh, hello.
Hi, good morning. How is everyone today?
Oh, everybody's doing great. Do you prefer to have your camera off, or it's just like you haven't allowed it to be on? Because right now we only see a black screen.
Well, my camera's off right now because I'm actually at my father's place right now. So
okay, that's fine. So you want to tell us a little bit about what your grade you teach, and how did it go for you at the beginning of this? Or
oh my gosh. Well, this is my 31st year.
Go ahead.
So I've been teaching for 31 years. 21 of those have been in pre-K, which is now ETK. I'm an LAUSD teacher. And as Deborah was saying earlier, it was really hard at first because ETK did not get any technology.
We did not.
So most of my students were working from their parents' cell phones. And even that was limited because parents needed their phones to go to work. So my biggest issue was parent participation. Because from my 24 students, I had all of 9 doing daily work. And I had an average of 14 joining us for Zoom meetings. So I felt like a great majority of the kids missed out on 10 weeks of instruction.
And was that due to the lack of technology, you think?
No, because at one point, every child picked up a laptop.
How often did you do Zoom?
We did Zoom twice a week for half an hour.
Okay. I was doing Zoom every day for an hour 10, an hour 15. And I noticed that I have 15 students, and I only had 2 days where I had the whole entire class. So every now and then, 1 or 2 were missing from the bunch, but that was, still kind of like the majority. And but I noticed that sometimes, one parent brought it up that, oh, my child loved school, she cries about school, but she does not enjoy this online learning. And I was like, it is. And then I just told her, I said, you have to understand that next year she might start the year like that in kindergarten. And I know ATK is more like play and all that, but kinder is very academic, as we know. And, if she start missing, that's going to be difficult. I don't know what the next teacher will do, but I told her that. And then she started kind of coming a little more. And then I noticed that some thematic days was very important. So I started like, okay, pajama day, we're going to the beach day, we're going to go crazy hair, and da-da-da. And that was motivating the kids. So I noticed that has helped for me. And now as I'm thinking, I don't know if the whole week is right, again, because the parents were using their cell phones, and, they had to be home with the kids. They're very little. It's not like they can just, be connecting themselves and all that. So it was a lot on the parents to have that 1 hour, 20 minutes just into this, supporting this instruction. So I am trying to think. That's why I'm asking people how often they did, how did it go, because that's part of my reflection if I want to do it every single day.
Yeah, because I during the 30 minutes, towards the end of the time, I would start to lose them. So I think 30 minutes was perfect,
Mm-hmm.
but it had to be a lot of movement, a lot of songs to keep them engaged.
Yeah, that's another thing I noticed is because I did a lot with the letters. They would bring me, I would say, okay, tomorrow we're learning letter N. Bring 2 things that start with the letter N. And then they would bring that, and then I would chart the letters, and we would talk about it. And I was like, okay, look, and showing my mouth and all that, which is a little bit, over our EPK curriculum, right? We're trying to just get them even more ready for kindergarten. But then some were like excited, some were not as excited what the other kids were showing, what they brought. I thought that was going to be so exciting for them to see what other kids had in their house related to that letter, but it was not. Some kids, they couldn't focus that much on somebody else, because they are still into their own thing. But I noticed when I broke into songs, oh, wow, then I could see everybody on the screen. And in other parts, I would see that, oh, that's an empty couch. Where did they go? So it's like weird. So how about for you, Deborah? Did you do Zoom or mostly?
I did. I have a class of 24 fifth graders, so to have them all at once was way too much. And so I split them up into guided reading groups and guided math groups. And so I held 4 Zoom meetings every Tuesday and Thursday, but only 5 or so kids were in each one. So it was manageable, but I'd never had all of them in the same meeting. One of the issues that we had because of the technology was that some siblings had to share.
Uh-huh.
And so because we're K-12, we couldn't get the schedule. I mean, there aren't enough hours in the day to split up all the classes that high school kids are taking plus our classes. And so sometimes my students couldn't be on because their brother or sister was taking their English class or had their math class or something like that. So and high school takes precedence. That's fine. Their credits count towards something. So but I saved all my Zoom meetings and posted them to Google Classroom. And so they could watch the video that they missed and then still get the lesson and be able to do the work. So I did have a few students do that. In Google Classroom, it's pretty cool. You can select who can see what you're sending out, so you don't have to assign work to the whole class. You can specify who gets the work, and you can differentiate through Google Classroom. And so because of that, I could share the video just with the 5 kids that were supposed to be in that meeting and not with everybody. So I did have quite a few kids doing work that way and coming through with what they needed to because of that. So
yeah, that's good. That's very good about not having the whole class also, because it gives more of an attention. That's another thing I was reflecting on, that perhaps I could have some days as a whole group and some days just kind of singling out a few children that I could really engage better with So it's not so long
Right.
to wait for their turn, because at one point in the day, every day I wanted to see all my students, or they were either showing me their homework that they did, little thing with the letter or something like that, or showing me an art project or whatever it was. But it was long for them to wait for everybody to go through. And somebody else on the chat also agreed that, it's hard to have everybody in the class. And you mentioned the Google Classroom app. There are so many apps out there. That's another thing that I wanted to learn more about it. I started using Class Dojo, but towards the end, because at the
I love Class Dojo.
Yeah, it's really very. But it was something that I was just like, okay, I'm gonna try for next year, mostly because what happened when we all started with this, I needed to contact the parents, and it was so funny because I started doing something I was always told not to do. So I had to go get people's telephone number and start, contacting them and calling them, and I made a whole group with hold on one second, because I have some more people trying to talk to us over here. Let me put it on the screen, and then I'll go with my own thing. So here is Mandana Sadie saying, hi, I teach middle school math. I have 6 classes with 36 students in a class. Wow. The most I ever had in a Zoom class with 13 students. Wow. See, that's a thing. And let's see, there's some more comments here. Usually around 5 or 6 showed up out of 36 weekly on average. Lack of motivation. Parents went to work and the students didn't care to log in and were sleeping till 1 p.m. Yeah, that's a thing. You know what I mean? The schedule got very crazy. I know I have a high school student, and it's like it was tough to get him up, and it's just hard to keep on the schedule.
We're in a big trauma-informed area, and so trauma is a big piece of what we work on with our high Indigenous population. And a lot of my kids were saying, why am I being punished to do schoolwork at home? Oh. And that whole home setting was very challenging for them because, you do schoolwork at school and you don't do it at home. And so to have it transition to home is a big mindset shift for kids that we need to put a lot more time into this summer to be able to handle that. So how
do you think we need to address that?
Well, depending on, how our county opens and goes through its phases, because we've been re-shut down because we're a huge outbreak area. So I'm going to have parent classes on what their student, how to use Google Classroom and how to understand. One of the things is that everybody has this idea of what education's supposed to look like, and it no longer looks like that. And so this is a new beginning, and we need to help set up where we want our parents to be. They only have their own school experience to fall back on, and unfortunately the parents in my community had a very bad experience with school and their parents. And so we have to kind of change the whole way that learning looks. And we have this great opportunity to do that right now, but we need to educate families first before we can have their backing on kids. And so that's my whole thing. We're going to do a parent academy, and we're going to invite parents to come in and look and see what is Google Classroom, what's Class Dojo, what is Remind. And we've got all these different apps that we're going to be using, and my job is going to be putting together something for parents.
Oh, that's great. That's a great idea.
Deborah, I'm sorry, I didn't get, where do you teach?
I'm in Oregon.
Oh, okay. And you said 5th grade?
5th grade, yeah.
Okay. How many students?
Typically we have about 16 per class. I had 24 last year. This coming year I'll have 14. So that's pretty average.
Wow.
We're a really small rural community, and we primarily serve the Siletz Nation. So it's a small rural farming community off the reservation, but we're on the Oregon coast, and so it seems like there's a lot of people here, but not many out in Silene. So it's a small, tight knit little community out there.
Wow, pretty unique.
It's beautiful.
Like that. And here Jeff Benjamin said, love the idea of making a class for parents. Yeah, see,
I think that's crucial.
a new idea right now.
I think that's crucial.
Mm-hmm. So would you be doing like a Zoom lesson and the parents? Like, how would you be going about this, Deborah?
Well, if we can have a limited number of people at the school at a time, we'll do classes in person, up to 10 people in the computer lab. Mm-hmm. Because they'll have to sign up. It's obviously going to be volunteer, and but I would love to have it in person, just because I think it's a lot more of an intimate setting to be able to get their buy-in. But if we have to do Zoom, I'll do Zoom meetings, or Screencastify is a great extension for you to record your screen and talk through different things, and I can put together a class that way.
Oh, I never heard of that. Interesting. Somebody over here asked a question about how to, let me see. Let me go into this comment here. That please tell, how do you do assessments in virtual classrooms? Oh, that's a good one. How to do assessment in virtual classroom. That is interesting. As far as for me, I probably will be setting small meetings, maybe with children, to ask them about, the letters, the colors, the certain assessments that I usually do. But it is, hard, because they also don't want us to be like with one student at a time in a room. Then, I mean, it's kind of like have some other things that are, there are limitations to this too. So how would you, Irma or Deborah, how are you assessing, or how?
Well, I tried to do an end of the year assessment. I teach pre-K again. Mm-hmm. And my biggest issue was that the kids, even though I knew they knew some of the concepts, mm-hmm. they would hesitate and they would look at their parent for the parent to give them the answer. So that was like, if you hesitate, you're not going to get credit for it. So yeah. that was one of my biggest concerns was the helicopter parent that was there trying to feed them the answers, trying to tell their child what to do. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of hard.
Yes.
And I also had my assistants with me. Uh-huh. So I know they don't want us to be alone with the kids, but I think it would be more beneficial to have another adult, as long as another adult is present. But other than that, I don't know how we can assess virtually.
We were never told we couldn't be one-on-one with students. I record every Zoom meeting, so
I cannot record. I was recording.
And that was another thing. They told us LAUSD we could not record.
No, I wanted to record my first or second meeting just as a feedback for myself to see how it comes across. How do I put the screens? What the kids see? Well, I don't know. I just wanted to reflect. Mm-hmm. And my principal happened to be in that meeting, and she sent a little memo, and we're not supposed to record the meetings. And
we invite our admin to come to all of our meetings, so we put them into the email or the schedule, and they can pop in and out whenever they want.
Yes,
but we record them all. So I have a whole folder of all of my meetings, and I rename them all with the student's name, so I know exactly who is, if it's a group, then the group, I just post that, but individual, I put their name right in the name of the document, so that I have a whole file of all my kids.
Yeah.
How often did you do me, Deborah?
I did small guided reading and guided math lessons. So I met every Tuesday and every Thursday with my students, but I did 4 meetings because I did group A, B, C, D, and E, F, G, H.
Yeah. Yeah. Tuesdays, Thursdays seem to work for us as well.
Yeah, Mondays, like, you don't get anybody.
Yeah.
I did fun
Mondays and
whole
Fridays.
class meetings on Mondays. If I wanted everybody there, I did those on Mondays because they really liked being able to see all of their friends.
Oh,
And I strategically split them from their friends in my guided reading meetings. So we did whole stuff just once, maybe once every 2 weeks, so they could still see each other. But
Mm-hmm. And here's Mrs. Buck saying, I'm about to assess my preschoolers. I've been thinking of how sincere I can get the assessments without the parents help. And one thing about the parent helping, I remember when we were in class, children would talk so much. I would ask them questions and they would be talking a lot. At home, when I asked them a question, it was so, that's the part that to me, I'm trying to reflect and see how can be better. It almost like they regress so much. And they would always be looking again, like Irma was saying, to their parents, like they don't know the answer to this question, and I'm only asking them something that, what do you like to do, or even if simple things, and they were like, and they went into a lot of Spanish speaking, even with me, and the parents had to be saying things and filling in the blanks for them, and I was like, oh wow, you know what I mean? So as far as the speech, I was pretty concerned that, and I didn't want to be correcting so much and telling the parents to go away, because sometimes they needed the parents because they're so young. So it was kind of like a thing that I'm trying to figure out how to do it better, because they relied a lot on the parents. And again, over here, Mrs. Buck, then how can you know it's an authentic assessment? Because the parent could be like whispering, hey, it's blue, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Did you have the meeting with the child and the parent both just attending, and really kind of talk to the parent first by saying, I need to have an assessment with your child, so I want you there as support, but I need them to answer?
I wasn't really assessing them. It was more throughout the classes as I'm asking them questions and things like that. They were not, answering. They were just really relying on the parents, and the parents were supplying a lot of information for them. And here is Mandana Sadie saying, hi, Jen, you should go live. You are so good online, and tell them about your spreadsheet you made to target kids not participating. That was my POP for future learning, and I passed. Thanks to you. Oh, wow. So I guess Mandana is your friend, and I guess you helped her with the POP for future learning. Cool. Very nice. I mean, I guess Jen is on the chat, actually, not over here. Sorry, got confused. But that is a good thing. Mandana, would you like to come up and talk a little bit about your problem of practice? I'll put the link again, just in case, and we can have up to 6 people on the screen. So there's room for everybody. This is like, we just squeeze a little more. And I'm sorry, people on the chat, if I missed some comments. I'm just not as proficient into this, putting people on the screen, talking to, anyway. So there's a link down there in case anybody would like to come up on the screen and join us here. So let's see, Belinda Tabuyo said, Zoom helped us a lot. Parents loved it. Yes, for the little kids, I think it helped a lot because, their whole thing on preschool is socialization, is having friends. So, it's not like we can really send them work, even though we did send some worksheets that they were working on and all, but sorry, there's an ambulance going by my house. But it did help a lot, especially when we were, dancing and doing that. And then when I was doing the thematic days about, today we're going to go to the beach, what are we going to bring? And that elicited a lot of talk, and they got really excited about that. So next year I probably would be doing, other things like, oh, let's go to the zoo, let's go to the art museum, I don't know, let's go whatever. And then, that also brings me to the virtual tour. Did you take your kids on virtual tours?
No.
So the Bitmoji class group that you belong to, if you save some of those tours, they're amazing. So for our end of the year party, I took my kids to Disneyland. So most of them have never left the state. The ocean is 20 minutes from the school, and some of them have never been there. So it's interesting, and we had a great time. We took one. It wasn't fantastic, but my kids were so excited. it showed the entrance and seeing all the characters. We got to ride some roller coasters. And then they did we rode the teacups, which are still just as horrible on video as they are in person. And then we got to see the fireworks display, and I left it on Google Classroom so that they could watch it as many times as they wanted.
But the first
So-
is a Zoom
It was
lesson.
Zoom. I just shared my screen.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah. So I did it through Zoom and I shared my screen. So I was in control of all the clicks and everything. And then I uploaded it as an assignment or an announcement to Google Classroom so that they could watch it until I close the class. And I won't do that until probably September.
That is nice. And what's the difference between the Google Classroom and Class Dojo? Do you know? Because I'm trying to.
Oh, yeah. So Google Classroom is where teachers can go in and post assignments, and they can do them in the app. So we're a G Suite school. So our district has purchased Google G Suite for education. And so they have access to docs and slides and sheets and all of those tools. And so if you build your assignments in those and upload them, then they can do them right on the computer and turn them in right on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then Class Dojo is trying to get there where they can do worksheets and things like that. And I'm a beta tester for them and a mentor for them as well. But I use them more as just communication with the parents. The portfolio piece is really nice, but we didn't have computers during the year, so I didn't have my kids doing the Class Dojo portfolio, but I take attendance on there and I do points on there because we earn Pride tickets, and so that's how they earned those, was by getting their dojo points. So.
Mm-hmm. Because for me, like I said, I started like making a group on my like a text group on my cell phone where I text the parents all the information, all the videos I wanted the kids to watch, and all that. So that was kind of like my Class Dojo Google Classroom going on my text. But
Yeah,
then it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna start a new year like this, because at first was like, oh, this is going to be a temporary situation, but then it became a little longer, and now next year we might start. And I don't know the new parents, and I'm like, okay, this is not so as professional, so I need to learn some kind of other way to be doing all this communication. So I started Class Dojo just maybe, I don't know, 3-4 weeks before we went off vacation. Now we're off. So I did see the portfolio. I had a few kids that were putting pictures in the portfolio, but it was just 1 or 2 students. And I'm like, is this a difficult app or what? Because I don't know if because my parents were so already relying on my texts. So that was a secondary thing going with that they didn't feel like, oh, I should go there every day. I should check this thing out. Oh, hi, bye, Irma. Did you want it to come out or it just happened? Did we kick you out? That was in the bed, and the little one said, roll over now. You can come back, okay? If you want to come back, I'm going to put the link again. Sorry about that. Hopefully we didn't kick you out. Anyway, what was I saying? I was talking about that. So anyway, so I wanted to know which program to start next year, because I want to already start with something that, something that's really good. Would you suggest the Google Classroom as a better way instead of the Class Dojo, or how? Because I
use both. So I use Class Dojo more as a bulletin board, announcements for parents, and sometimes I'll post on there, check your email, because I do email groups. So I email all the parents and the students at the same time. With Google Classroom, your kids have to have email. So our district assigns everybody an email now. And so I sometimes put on there, check your email if they haven't done that. I don't know of other preschool programs to use. I know that there's other online tools for preschool, but I think there is a Google for preschool teachers group on Facebook that might be really helpful.
Oh, thank you. I'm just putting some comments on the screen because sometimes my chats start going and I'm like, oh, this is gonna mean I'm not really, the people on the chat are getting neglected. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I really appreciate people chatting and saying things to us, and I forgive me if I'm not putting all the comments and everything, because I can only do one thing at a time, so I'm so engrossed into this conversation. I'm so sorry. Anyway,
I have a question. Belinda posted, we have Clever, and I don't know what Clever is.
yes, Clever. So this one was a virtual safari. Her virtual tours learning purpose. Yes, those are really great. So Clever, as far as I know, we got a little badge for the kids. And if anybody on the chat knows more and can explain more about Clever, I would love to also learn more about it. So please, either write on the chat or come up. Like I said, I'm learning, really learning. Anyway, so so there's a badge, and then the children just use their badges and they go on the screen, and then it kind of get some programs going. I think that's what I understand about the Clever. And then there were, I guess there were 2 programs, like a language arts and a math on that. Does anybody have more information? Because since we're ETK, sometimes we don't get all, the very, academic trainings and things like that. Sometimes we don't get invited to too many of those. But that's what I remember about Clever. Anybody else on the chat remembers more about the Clever?
Is ETK part of the school district? Like, is it part of the school? Because we have preschool, but it's Head Start, so it's not part of the district.
ETK now is part, yes. It
Okay.
used to be the SRLDP or something like that, and now it's ETK.
Okay.
But not too many schools have it, and not too many parents attend either. So it's not but it is part. But the standards are different than we have different learning standards. We have the preschool learning standards where grades K, and above have the
Right.
standards and all that. Let's see. So what are other things on the chat? Maybe I passed some other comments that were interesting. No, no. I don't see anybody else talking, and then I don't see people talking about the Clever.
We sent a lot of paper packets home. I don't know about all of you, but because technology was so hit or miss for our district, a lot of our teachers were sending paper packets home and expecting them to come back. And we even had a bus that took them out every Monday and would pick them up every Monday. And I don't know, they still didn't get a lot of work back. I just waited out my kids. I have patience that can go forever, so I will wait you out. And so I refused to send home paper and said, no, you're going to log on to your computer. You have one. The district provided you with one, and I will wait for you. And so I finally got 22 out of 24 kids online doing their work on their computer by the last 2 weeks of school.
Oh, that's
so sometimes patience is, it's okay. It's on them. You've got to put that responsibility back on them. And I know with preschool, it's so much different just because you're so relying on the adult. But I really needed my parents to get out of the way.
Yes. Here's Irma back. Yay! Welcome back. So, she might be talking with somebody else about something. So I'm muting her for a little bit. So just to finish this thought. Yeah. So that's what happened. My school, we had some days when we could go and prepare the packets, and my principal would take it, and the district would send. But it wasn't like weekly. I had 2 opportunities to go there and do these packets for my students, which I did send. And I remember one was before Mother's Day, and I was like devastated because mothers love those projects, and I'm like, what are you gonna do? Mother's Day. So I had bought for them a little bracelet with beads and had little mom and little charms and all. And I got to put it in that packet, and I was so grateful and happy that I had, that plan. And then my TA taught them how to do an origami flower online. So the parents were pretty much helping them do the origami flower. The moms were helping, and it was going to be their gifts. And I said, you just decorate and all that. And then I had some other coloring things.
That's nice.
So, there is some thinking that needs to be done as far as, these projects and things, because there's a lot of this in ETK and pre-K that the parents love, the handprints and all these cool things that next year I'm going to have the parents, helping me with the projects. Like, okay, we're going to, I'm going to send you
Right.
something, and then today we're going to do the handprint, because every month I had handprints and different things I like to do, and I don't want to miss on the things I used to like to do. So I'm trying to adapt them to this new system, but it's hard, and I have to really open my mind to something new, which I'm having a hard time. And anyway,
Well, the comment that caught your attention that I put on Facebook the other day was really about, we are entering a time that has never been seen before. And we have the opportunity as educators and professional people to design the classroom the way we would like it to be. And even though we're going to have some people telling us that we're not doing it correctly, nobody knows. And so it's our time to stand up as leaders and really come across and say, this has never been done before. So we have to try this. We have to take a little risk. It's a new beginning. For me, for 5th grade, and for my colleagues at above preschool, everybody's saying, oh, my kids are going to be so far behind. We're not going to be able to start. No, this is our new beginning. Every child across the globe is starting at a new point now. And they're no longer starting where we expected them to start before. So we really need to kind of push back what's old and embrace this new beginning that we all have that's coming this year. And for some people, that's overwhelming and scary. And that's why we lean on each other and we protect each other as educators. And we say, we have to give it our best chance. But this is our time. And we've needed a revolution in education for a long time. And we have it now, not maybe the way we wanted it, but we have it. And we need to really grab onto that and take it.
But Deborah, I can see that you're pretty tech savvy for the way you kind of wiggled. Some people are like me, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, this is daunting, It's like, I don't know how to do these things. Like even for my problem of practice, I needed to attach a document into the tiny little PowerPoint thing. And I'm like, oh my God, how do I put it in? You know what I mean? And I mean, that was nuts. And I have to ask my son, and my son's like, I'm busy, okay? So, I mean, that's something that would be interesting, to really collaborate with people that are the tech savvies, that can go and have patience to explain and teach, somebody like me how to do it, because for some people this is really easy, but for me, it's
Absolutely
really not as easy. So it's good to have the support system, and I'm glad I'm your friend now. Anyway,
well, and YouTube's an amazing place. I go to YouTube a lot for help on certain things, and how do I put this code in here, and how do I put this assignment in here? Well, let's YouTube that. And I teach my students how to use YouTube, and for some districts you don't have access to that, and we don't have full access, and so.
Yeah, but some people are like, you know what I mean? Like, I can go to a video and watch, but it's so much different when somebody's right there telling you, a friend is, you know what I mean? Like, some people are like people person, like, where we like that little touch, like, oh, somebody cared. They told me how to do it, I don't know. It's just the personality of people. And I think that
absolutely,
that's the people like me that we're like, oh my gosh, where's that people? I like to hug, you know what I mean? I like to touch,
right?
And that's difficult.
It's very difficult. Well, you have to remember that's how your kids are too. And so I had a couple students that were really struggling with getting into the systems we needed them in. And so I invited 2 girls to this Zoom meeting. So it was just the 3 of us, but I had them share their screens instead of me sharing mine. And then I was able to say, okay, now go take, click on this button and go over here and click on this button, and have them do it themselves rather than them watching me do it. And I think that's helpful as well. Typically when I do a Zoom meeting, I turn off that part. You can say that they can't share their screen. And because of their 5th grade, I turn that off. But for some, with one-on-one and small group meetings, I kept that on, especially during guided reading, because then they could, when they were trying to explain character development, they could share their screen and say, well, this is what I'm looking at. This is what I'm doing. So remember that you have that part too.
So hold on. So here we have the Clever answer. Clever is a way to aggregate access to multiple textbooks. Lots are linked with the Clever. Okay, so that's when you use that badge and you access textbooks and sometimes even apps. Because I remember asking them to go to ABC Mall with their, passcode and access. So thank you, Jen. Thank you, Jen. And then somebody over here, let me see if I put Jose's. Jose Garcia said, how do we teach circles for kindergarten? Does anybody have tried that, circles for kindergarten? Any input on that? Let me unmute Irma. Hi, Irma. Have tried that, circles for kindergarten? Oh, I'm hearing myself back on a delay on Irma.
Maybe
So-
to close all the
Irma, did you close the back tab, the tab that is, just give the StreamYard tab and close the other tab. Are you with us?
No. I am.
Do you circles for
That was the issue. That was that second window. And that was a lot of my problem as well, that I'm so tech unsavvy that it's really difficult. It's really difficult, and I'm very impressed with you, Deborah, with all your tech knowledge.
Deborah,
Because
you're French, you're gonna help us out. Don't worry.
that's what I think I need. I need to learn more of these platforms.
Mhm.
Because even Zoom was very limiting, because I tried to share Google Slides, but I couldn't figure out how to do it on Zoom while sharing the screen. So all these little techniques that I just was not familiar with. So it made it even more stressful.
That does, and I can see that because of our limited technology at my school. I came from Arizona, and I'm blessed and fortunate that my previous administrator was a huge tech person, and so she sent us to trainings all the time. And so I feel like I've stepped back in time, because I don't have a smart board, and I barely have a document camera, which is so crazy to me. So, but I constantly am taking technology classes. I'm actually in the process of getting my Google certification right now. So you can be a Google educator, and I'm getting my level 1 certificate in the next couple weeks. And so all of that, like, I find that really important. My kids are 24, and I always said I'm going to stay one step ahead of my children. And so they still come to me asking me questions about certain things, certain applications, and I go to them with other ones. So asking your kids isn't bad to help you. But yes, technology is a huge barrier for educators, for sure.
Yeah, and in our administration, they're not tech leaders, or they had no tech vision. So we're working with basic laptops, and some of the platforms that we need to access require upgraded technology.
Yes.
We, for many years, have been pleading for MacBooks, and no, the answer has always been, unless you're going to teach graphic design, then you don't need them. But it's like almost a big slap in the face this time around, because, hey, we really need some good technology.
Yeah. So anyway, our schools are opening in August, in here in the U.S. Right? It's for you too, right, Deborah? Here at LAUSD, we're starting August
18th.
18th. Yeah.
Well, I know that my former school in Arizona, we start in July, and they're doing registration right now, and they start in July with online. They're doing online only at the beginning. In Oregon, we just were told last week that we're starting with a hybrid, which means we're going to be part online and part in building. So I'm not sure, but we don't go back until after Labor Day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so that's September.
So that's that. And then Mrs. Buck is saying a lot of teachers are stressed out, time out to breathe. It's true. And when I talk about doing this little get together here, some people are like, oh, then I'm in a mental state. I'm like overwhelmed. for me, I'm kind of like, I have things fresh in my mind, and I know if I go into vacation mode, it's going to be harder for me to go back into like, well, what do I need to do next year? So what I want to do for the next few weeks is really get my mind around what is it that I want to do for next year, get a, like a little plan. And then I can go into my vacation mode, because I cannot go into vacation mode right now when I'm very stressed. What am I going to do next year? But if I have a plan, kind of like, it doesn't have to be perfect, but a little bit, I think I'm going to relax more. And Deborah, I was going to ask you, and feel free to say no, but would you be willing to teach us a little bit? Because this program has the capability of share screen. So I can have you share, your screen, and you can, we can practice a little before, and then you can maybe teach us a little bit. Like we can have a day where we learn how to do, one platform and another platform, or whatever you want to teach us. Because to me, that would be really great, because it's not just listening to somebody, it's listening to somebody. I mean, there's something for some people that having a human connection changes everything. And that's for me. I don't know if anybody's like me, but
I agree
with you and I know you and you're teaching me, I relax, because that's
and it's not the same. I agree, Silene, because it's not the same hearing from a presenter that's not an educator as hearing a presentation from an educator. That makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, it totally does. And here is Mrs. Buck helping us, saying, I teach circles with songs, and we do show and tell. The children bring objects. There are circles to show friends. Okay, that's like teaching the shapes and all. That's really good. The kids love the treasure hunts. I would say, okay, go to your house and find circles, woo, and find this, find that. Especially the little ones. See, that's the thing with the little ones, because when we're in the physical classroom, and I know, preschool teachers here can, agree with me. It's like nothing lasts more than 20, 25 minutes. You could have the best activity. After 25 minutes, these kids are, it's just not the same. So you have to go, okay, now we're on this carpet. Now we're going to go to that carpet. Now we're going to go outside, inside, go here, go there, turn around. It was a lot of movement. And in online, how much can it be the movement here? It's like the dancing. And that was my problem of practice, was about, the physical movement for the kids, how we're going to incorporate a lot of that with the technology, because usually technology implies you're sitting with the device. So you need to get this physical movement. And that was my problem of practice, of how to get this thing going.
Do you use Go Noodle?
I've used it in the past. That's a really good one. It gets them.
And you can share your screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just on Zoom. There's a little button at the bottom when you're about to share your screen that says include computer audio. And you have to have that checked. Otherwise, they won't be able to hear what you're sharing. They'll just be able to see the movement, but they won't be able to hear the music. So it's always unchecked. You've got to make sure you check that box.
That's good.
Well, that would have been good advice.
Yes, that is good. And then I plan to be doing some videos myself. I've started, because the other day, one of my students, the mother was so proud. She sends me a little video of this student reading. The only thing is that he had a book that had everything thrown in there. And he's like, they're not even in kindergarten. He's just learning to blend. And it had everything. It had blends. It had diphthongs. It had everything on one sentence. And he's struggling. So I was like, I'm going to start teaching kids. So I kind of put some videos there of like, starting with the blending. And I'm going to, now that I have more time, I'm probably going to continue with things like that for the kids, and some exercise videos. I might be going into more videos myself too, then I can send my students. And again, when they see who the person is there, maybe they feel more like, oh, I want to see this video. My teacher's there. I know her, or whatever. So,
Silene, I'm sorry. Can you share a little more about your YouTube channel?
Yes.
How you record and what you use
to do my YouTube channel?
To do your YouTube videos. How do you record yourself? Do you have a camera? Do you have...
No, I record on my phone. I edit on my phone on iMovie, and it's funny because I have teachers that had asked me about my YouTube channel, and also, I don't know, it's so hard, and then it's so easy. And then they see me doing, and they're like, if she can do it, I can do it too. And so I have a few teacher friends that started doing other channels and having some content, actually very interesting content going. So it's really easy. It's just my phone, and I edit on iMovie. And one thing that I found is very creative, because I'm a very creative person. And when I was in the classroom with my kids, my creativity would go with that, because I would play with them, and we make things up and build it, and all that was going. But now I'm home and I don't have any kids here around. Like, I mean, they're on the screen, but it's different. So I miss that. So that's why I started with this creativity. So it's a way for me to have my creativity. So I started doing, before all this, videos about LA, and because I'm Brazilian, I was showing some aspects of LA. That was one of my focus. The other was education, showing my classroom and things that I was doing. And then I had another passion that was this Funko Pop dolls that I was also talking about. And right now I'm mostly focusing on education, but sometimes I throw some other things there. So does that answer the question, Irma? Because I might have gone into like a pathway somewhere.
That's another thing. That's another thing I'm considering. What other technology do we need to purchase to be more effective online? Because I know lighting at my house is very poor. My house is very dark. I have limited amount of windows, so I had to buy a ring light.
Yeah, I have a ring light right now.
That I have to find the appropriate lighting, like basic stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen on YouTube somebody making like some kind of contraption out of a box or something, building something that would project light. You could make it yourself too. I've seen one friend of mine did that, and so there's other ways to go about. But I don't think you need as much to do it. For me, the problem more is how to access these other things and be more effective with using technology. But so basically a phone, iMovie, and if you want, you can have a light, or you can use natural light, and that's it. You know what I mean? And you can really
sometimes Apple releases their products for free, so it's a good idea to watch the App Store, because iMovie is there's a fee involved, but I know that a few years ago they had released all their products for free, and so there were a bunch of us that were watching those and were able to grab some of those apps for no charge. So really, don't buy stuff. It's, you don't need to have professional quality videos for your kids. You and your families are in the same boat as far as access and what they can see. And I had half my class show up to my videos in their pajamas and their sheets and blankets over their head, and so just be there for them. I think social emotional health is going to be more important than content. Kids are going to learn. They're going to learn, unless they have a big learning disability, and that's a completely separate issue. They're going to learn despite all of this. And we just need to make sure that their hearts and minds are healthy, and not spend so much time on content. I agree. 20 minutes, they're done. So let's not drag it out and torture ourselves to try to keep them engaged longer than we have them. They have so many distractions at home that
I have to talk to the parents a little more about having that little place for the child to be, because sometimes I was listening to TV and phone calls and other things, and it's like, this poor child, and I was muting everybody. That was another thing I had to do on Zoom, is mute everybody. There was so much things going on, and for me that was frustrating, because I wanted to do some phonemic awareness. I want to hear what are they telling me and how they responding, and I just it was just impossible. You had to call one at a time if you wanted to really get that feedback on that. But yeah, there's a lot of things, challenges, and I feel like I have to set up a little bit more of an expectation. I didn't want to be so like, oh, you have to be in the computer, you sometimes children were learning or grooming and all that. And I'm like, come on, we're only here for an hour. You know what I mean? Can we do this before or after? So it was a little bit tough for me because I'm kind of a little bit of a control freak on things. Relate at all, but so it was tough. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna overlook all this because I just wanted to be here and give that emotional support. So I put in my mind that was the emotional support was what I wanted to do. But when I start a new year, I'm gonna need to do a lot more than the emotional support. I will have to teach all that stuff that I taught up to the point, that I was when I came home and I couldn't be with them. And I had done a lot of that work before. And here I'm gonna have to start from scratch and getting to know the kids and getting to that. Let me see, somebody else is saying something over here. So what measures are you taking in school for children below grade 5? As it's difficult for them to maintain social distancing, they cannot wear masks for such a long duration of 6 hours. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. That's going to be very interesting, especially how they're going to play, especially for our grade level, right, Irma, that we have the little ones. I mean, they are always on top, not on top of you, but they had, that they
They're on top of, no, they are on top of each other. Literally.
So how are they?
I started to see these really.
I think they have to limit the number of kids that we have from 24 is unrealistic to keep them 6 feet apart. So we're going to have to limit the enrollment capacity, 1. And 2, I think at the beginning of the year, I think we have to follow a hybrid model.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I don't know if you were familiar with the SRLDP before ETK in LAUSD, where you had half of the kids in the morning and then another group in the afternoon. It's almost like we're going to have to go back to that double schedule model.
Yeah, I agree. And then I heard about having, some kids at school and then some kids online. So you would do, you would be in the physical building of school and then you teach some there and then they go home and then you get into online with some kids, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's still, everything is still so uncertain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And I don't know. For me, I'm a person that I like the long-term plan, and I don't have a long-term plan. So I guess that's, I want to. So that's why I'm trying to plan for every different scenario to be a little bit prepared for every whatever comes.
I think that's the stress, is that it's unknown, and most teachers are control freaks. That's why we're teachers. And so to have that unknown, is a little bit overwhelming, and it challenges people to be able to be reflective in that way. I've seen a lot on my Facebook of these hats. They're almost like boat hats, or I don't know, beach hats or something, but they have a big face guard. Instead of a mask, they've got this big plastic shield that's attached to the hat that comes down even just at like shoulder level. And it's got this little girl that's probably 4 or 5 in the picture. So that was pretty interesting to me. Plus, there's some father-son group that's making plastic face shields that go over the brim of your baseball cap. So you don't have to buy the hat. You just get these shields that slide right over the brim, and then it would be a shield instead of a face mask. Some people are wearing both, but I thought those were interesting. But we haven't had anything come out from the state that tells us what they are going to have to wear.
Right. Here, where it's like a glass. They're not really, they don't have lenses, just the frame of a glass, and then they have the little shields. Some people at, cashiers and things like that. Because one thing I'm concerned, when you have that mask and you're breathing that air, you know what I mean? That, the air that you're expelling, you're breathing back. How many hours can you do? I know that when I go around a little walk around my neighborhood, when I come home just for having the mask and wearing, and walk, I'm like, it's, you need some oxygen. So how long can you really be having this mask? Some people are.
Right. Well, and we have so many kids with asthma and they can't wear them. So, it's definitely going to be something
that skill that you're talking about would be interesting if that really would protect, because you would have some space, for air to kind of circulate down or up, or I don't know, we have a little circulation of, oxygen because It is tough, but not having kids touching things when we have little students, that's going to be impossible. You know what I mean? Because that's their thing. They have to touch everything. It's part
Right.
of
Things in their mouth, right, Silene?
it.
Everything goes in their mouth.
There is that too, and then there's the touching everything, and we're gonna have to be disinfecting everything. So that's the part that I'm thinking how much I'm gonna spend of my day disinfecting, and it's I don't know. We'll have to see. Let's see. I have. Oh, here's Miss Bradell. She was our dance teacher. Hey, hi, Miss Corn. Miss you so much. How did you get parents to be consistent in having their child on Zoom? Well, I guess they could see. And thank you for the question. I think they could see that I was telling them that I needed the kids, that they were doing because they were doing it for me. Because I was like, I miss the kids. I need to see the kids. And again, go back to that quote that parents, they want to know that you care. And if they know that you care,
Right.
they will go nuts to bring their kids because they know that you care about those students. And I think that was part of it. And I did explain to the parents because we had that open house kind of towards that, or back to school, actually. We had the back to school, and I told them, you know what I mean, that the kids needed the support to see the class and see their friends, and that was something very important for them, which I really thought it was. It was the emotional support for the kids. Because imagine if you're a kid, you don't know anything. We know that these things will go away eventually. We know but they don't know they're so young.
Right.
It's like they feel like this is gonna be their lives forever. Imagine how difficult that might be. So
Well, the younger they are, they don't know any different. So, I think we also need to change our perspective to say, okay, this is our new normal.
mm-hmm.
So instead of saying, oh, I don't know how long we're going to have to do this, it's just, okay, we're doing this. We've
Right.
got to.
And I wonder what's going to happen with the arts, because I know I had an art teacher. She was at our school, and we were not getting art because we're ETK, and we're like, oh, we don't have time for you on the schedule. Then suddenly this happened, and she's like, okay, the schedule just opened up because, and then she was coming once a week and doing art projects with us. She also has, like a little videos that she does about her project. So I don't know why, and I wonder, because Miss Pradell is a dance teacher, how does that go with the arts, with the dance teachers and all that? How are they? Wonder what they're doing next year.
I think they can do that via Zoom. I have a teacher friend of mine who stays at home with her kids now, but she used to be a ballerina, and her kids go to ballet school and they take dance class, and they had class all through the quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
And they took ballet online, and the teacher did the steps and did the videos, and she would post every little thing that her kids were doing through the quarantine, and they had ballet during the quarantine. I'm just going to show this up to my camera, but these are the advertisements that keep showing up on my Facebook page. Those are the
I see.
Those are the hats and screens, and it's a bunch of different companies that keep showing up on my feed for advertisement, but that's what I'm seeing. So
Mm-hmm.
Deborah, I would love to join you on Facebook. Is there any way I would love to join you on Facebook. Is there any way you can share your information with me?
I can. I'm not able to post. Hold on, let me see if I can get this to work.
And while you're doing that, let me talk with Humaira Kent. She's saying, hello, I'm from Bangladesh. This is the beauty of the internet, okay?
Right.
We can have people from all over the world here, and I love that. Thank you so much for coming. So it's saying, I'm from Bangladesh. We're doing online classes for playgroup students, but don't know if it's effective for them because they're too young for online classes. Well, I have a friend that has a school in Brazil. She has an English school in Brazil, and they are doing classes for 2-year-olds, and with playing and songs and music, and they are doing all that. So I think at this point, any age, 2 and above would enjoy, even if it's just the play, the puppets. Oh, I need to tell you, if you have preschool, the puppets were my friends, because when things were getting kind of like, I would just bring the puppet out, and I brought all my puppets from class, and they love those puppets. That's, so I would suggest puppets and dancing and movement for any grade. It's really nice. And now Ms. Pradell said, thank you. What about accountability turning in assignments? Yeah, we did talk a little bit about this, Ms. Pradell, about the assignments. And yeah, I heard that some people were not turning. For me, I was asking the kids if I would send one little assignment, I would tell them to show it to me the next day. And if I did a project, our project, whatever, I would tell them, okay, next day you're going to show it to me what you did. So that's how I was keeping my accountability. And they felt like, oh, then I should have it because I'm going to show this assignment. And then eventually it was kind of getting long. And I said, oh, just send me a picture. And when I transitioned to telling the parents to send me a picture of it, that's when I start not having so many. So I learned that, even if they have to just, everybody brings to the screen at one time, and I just quickly look, that there was more accountability than when I was asking them to post somewhere the assignments. Did you guys have that experience with the assignments? I mean, Deborah said that she was online and she got
definitely.
How about you, Irma? How did you do about the assignments?
The assignments as well. I had 9 consistent students turning in assignments daily, and I had maybe 3 that would turn in assignments sporadically. Then I had 3 parents who were doing worksheets that they were downloading, and they would turn that in as an assignment. As long as they did some kind of work, I would give them credit.
That's great. And here,
but I had 6 that absolutely never showed up. So those were my biggest concern. Turned their names into the administration, to our attendance counselors, and they were never held accountable. So I'm assuming it's only right now because we consider this crisis learning time. But next year, I hope they're going to be more supportive as far as administration goes with attendance.
And just want to do a little shout out to Mrs. Buck, that's from Nigeria. Thank you so much for being here. This is great. I love that. So
as far as assignments, though, like in the beginning, we were told only supplemental, so we weren't grading. And for fourth quarter, we were just pass incomplete, so we didn't have to. We weren't assigning grades. I still graded everything. And then we were told, if they didn't turn in a majority of their work, we could mark them as incomplete. And we went round and round about what does that mean? If it's not a fail, then, they're still going to get promoted to the next grade. All my kids are still going to middle school. So what does an incomplete actually do? And because we're a hybrid schedule next year, we're planning on implementing, if you got an incomplete, then you have to turn in the work during like a study hall period. So before they'll give them credit. So like, especially for middle school, high school, where it's a little bit more credit based, they're really going to be held accountable for that. Next year, they're saying attendance is required. For us, for distance learning, it was only that we had to make contact with our students twice a week. So they had to email us, message us, talk to us on Zoom, some way, shape, or form twice a week. But next year, if we have 4 days of in school and 1 online, that one day they're going to have to make contact with us.
See, I want to talk about the attendance, but I just want to talk, Ms. Pradell, again, a dance teacher. She said that our education teachers will continue with Zoom, pre-recorded videos, and sending lessons to classroom teachers. Lots of props for dancing. Yes, I agree. Lots of props for everything because kids love that. But as far as the attendance, what I would do, and again, I only had 2 days where I had my whole class. So every day, one or another would miss. But I would kind of go and I would tell the parents, say, oh, how if it moved twice, I would say, oh, how's your child? Is everything okay? How things are going? I would be texting them. I would be like, oh, da-da-da. Yes. And I was like, okay, tomorrow we're going to have class. And then in the morning when I open Zoom, okay, class is open, happy face, hello. Come and I would try to make it super fun so the kids would want to join into this. So that's why the academic on part of it, some of the things I wanted to get even more ready for kinder, like reading, the nonsense words and all that more academic part, that kind of got thrown a little bit off because it was above my standards anyway. But usually I do put it in. I had to take that off because it was too academic, and the kids, you know, I mean, that's the thing. When it's online, sometimes they feel like, oh, this is an elective. If I want to go, I go. If I don't want to, but it's not. This is school, and this is going to have to be happening. So that's what next year needs to have more of a frame for it. That is not okay to miss the same way it wasn't okay to be missing school. You know.
That's why for preschool, I think you really need to target parents and get their buy-in and say, school doesn't look the same, and these are the things that are going to be required, because your kids don't know any different. They don't know that they're not supposed to go, you know? So I think it's a lot more just taking down that barrier with parents to say, okay, it's going to be a lot more at home, and this is what these are the expectations for you. For me, I needed parents to get out of the way. Most of my parents, they were like, well, I don't know how to log them in. I can't get onto this platform. And I said, then don't let them do it. They know how. They know how to get into their email. They know how to log onto the system. Hand the laptop back over to the 10-year-old, and they'll show you how to do it. So for me, it was a lot of trying to instruct the parents to release some of that control back to their kids, because my students are old enough that they can manage their own time. You know, I had one parent, she had 3 kids, and they all had different meetings, and that's a lot on her to be in charge of all of that. And so she was like, we need to take a break. We can't be online all the time. And she said, I can't keep up with everybody's schedule. I said, that's great for your 1st grader, and that's great for your 3rd grader, but your 5th grader is old enough, he can manage his own schedule, and you don't need to manage it for him. He needs to be there.
Yeah, but you need to see this person will have to have multiple computers in case the classes are scheduled at the same time.
Right.
And there's the family thing. There were a lot of family emergencies happening. A lot. You know what I mean? So it's been like really the tolerance and patience and kindness and all that really played a big part on all this for all of us. And here is, I'm going to put this on because that's kind of like, thank you so much. When I saw a video of yours with puppets and it inspired me, and I have done this and made a video with my little Teddy for my student. See, to me, this is what people ask, like, why do I do, you know, my videos or whatever? My purpose is I want to help students and I want to help teachers. If they don't have an idea, sometimes teachers look at me doing it and they're like, you know what, if she can do it, I can do that too. And I love that, because then I mean, it's just, and your students love to see that. You know what I mean? It's like, that's great. Thank you so much for saying that. Heart. I love that. And then Ms. Pradell has a question about music. Let's see if we can answer. Music question. Why can't it be heard from my phone speaker, but some people can hear it? I don't understand what you're saying. Do you understand that? Music question. Why can't it be heard from my phone speaker, but some teachers can hear it? I'm not sure I understand the question, Ms. Pradell. Can you restate it? Can you say it again? I didn't get it. I don't understand.
Is it a music question on Zoom? Because it might be that you have to click the checkbox when you share your screen to say that they can hear your computer sound.
Did that help? Because that might be okay, like somebody else saying.
And you can't have 2 video conferences going at the same time. So like, we're a Google school, so we had some teachers doing it in Google Meet and other teachers doing Zoom. And the way Google Calendar, I don't know why, but when you make a Zoom meeting, it automatically puts a Google Meet link in there as well. So you have to erase that before you confirm the meeting. Otherwise, you have 2 meetings going at the same time, and you can't. So you have to choose one or the other. So you have to be, really observant as far as what shows up on your screen before you say yes.
Deborah, question. I'm sorry. Do you suggest headphones for the kids? Because I know
do.
For some of my kids, auditory, they couldn't hear. They couldn't hear me. Some, like I say, were still using their parents' cell phone. So
especially on a cell phone, yes.
I was wondering if headphones would make a difference for Zoom meetings.
So you need if they're on a phone, you need the headphones that have the microphone on them, which are a lot more expensive. If they're on a laptop, then the headphones will really help them with background noise, but they can still use their computer microphone, so you don't need it to have the microphone piece if they're going to be on a Chromebook or an iBook or just a laptop. And there's a company, I'll see if I can find it. There's a company that sells earbuds for 50 cents a piece for teachers. So I buy them for my whole class at the beginning of the year, and then I charge $1 if they need them replaced. So so that I can buy them the next year. So they tend to take care of them if I tell them that they're going to need to pay me if they break them. So, but
so the inexpensive earbuds you get sometimes with cell phones, would they work?
the ones that come with the cell phone, absolutely. So my students who use their parents' cell phone, they used headphones because otherwise it didn't work.
That's a good point. Sometimes one little thing can change everything. Did you ever notice that? One little tiny thing, just everything is much better once that little thing is adjusted or something like that. And I know that people on the chat, if you have any more questions, you can put on the chat. Also, I didn't talk before, but people on the chat can talk to each other. Sometimes, we're busy into one thing and I'm like super concentrating. If I miss anything you like to say, I don't want to make this meeting super long because I want to value your time. Everybody's very busy, but I would love to have more discussions. I don't know if Irma or Deborah, if you would like to come another time, we can make another, to discuss more things, perhaps even focus on one topic. I would like to have Deborah showing us some technology. I love that. And that eventually this whole chat will be going in my channel and you'll be able to put comments on the comment box under. And also if you have something you like to know, some questions, you can put it on the comment box and you can, we can answer each other on that comment box from the thing. And we can also, get some new topics for another time. I'll take some suggestions. If you are somebody that have a topic would like to talk and share, this is kind of like, for me, it's like, could be like how those buildings have a little rec room where people can meet and have a discussion. So I would like to open, my channel for this kind of discussion and rec room thing. If you have, hold on, because I just noticed I have some comments over here. Oh, that was something else.
Well, she restated her answer about teachers can hear her music from her phone speaker, but some teachers can't hear the music from the phone that is hooked up to my speaker through Bluetooth.
Okay, let's see. So can hear my music fine from my phone speaker. Some teachers can't hear my music from my phone.
Thanks, Mandana.
To my speaker. I don't know. I have no idea. Any no? Maybe I would suggest, Ms. Prida, maybe trying to contact these teachers and practice to see maybe something in their system is not adjusted or something, like prior to the Zoom meeting when the students are there and all that's happening. Maybe do it like, let's check just the system a little bit. Right? And just to kind of see it might be something that can be adjusted. It's just that when, the students are there and everything is happening, it's so hard to, get the mind around. So
it might be proximity of your speaker. It could be that the teachers that can't hear it, that they've got something on their end that they haven't turned on, because you can have your actual computer muted, and that's different than Zoom. So you can be on mute on this YouTube chat and still not be able to hear because your actual computer is muted. So those programs work independently of each other.
Did that help? I hope so. And let's see. Thank you. Let's do this again. Thank you for all your help. Deborah, nice meeting you. And thank you for all the info. Silene, you're awesome. And Irma, thank you as well. Oh, that's so cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too.
Hold on. We're not quite and here's one of my friends, Preschool Pizzazz, that I was telling before that, saw me doing my channel and kind of got inspired and have amazing videos. So, if you guys want to visit, she has information for teachers, some class for students, and very cool. I don't know if you want to come up a little bit to talk about your channel or what you've been doing. She's also a ETK student. I met her at one of those meetings that we go to. Our district offers some meetings for us to go to, and when I go to meetings, I always try to meet at least one or two people and make a connection so I can have that support. I'm not the most extrovert person, believe it or not. So it's like, I try to connect with one or two that can, do teamwork. I love the teamwork. And somebody said it before on the chat that teamwork makes the dream work. And that's my motto. I love teamwork. I just thrive on it a lot. It's like a big thing. And so anyway, also she said next time, and she sent some hearts to us next time. Yes, I really hope there will be a next time again. I would like to, again, on the chat, I will continue with this video. Anybody would like to see some topics, what you like to talk about. And again, I'm, invited Deborah to maybe show us some features, some different programs, because I would like to see, how does this program work? What is the Google Classroom compared to the Dojo? What can each thing do? So then I know what I want to show, which one would be the best, and things like that. So you'll be up to it, right, Deborah?
Yeah, absolutely. Here's my here's my technology thing. Don't overwhelm yourself by trying to learn 50 different things at once. You find one thing that you want to try and you work on that. Mm-hmm. And then we slowly add different things. Because if you, I go to a week-long tech camp every year. And this year they did it online instead of in person. And in person, you pick one strand and you work that whole week on one thing. Mm-hmm. And it's already overwhelming. And this year we had 18 different topics and I went to them all and my brain exploded. So pick one thing and work on that. And don't try to do so much. Find a tool. We can do Google Classroom, but really you're going to want to find a tool that you're comfortable with, that works well for you, and then you get good at that.
But see, what I would like to see is Google Classroom, perhaps go inside and look. What does it look like? What can it do? And I'm going to another dojo. What does it look like when I'm inside there? What can it do? Do you know what I mean? But somebody guiding me, somebody that understands how to navigate the terrain there. Because when I go in, I don't know what I'm doing. Am I posting it right? Do I post it here? Do I go there? What do I go? You know what I mean? So something like that. And then I can choose. If I know, it's like going to an ice cream store and not knowing what the flavors are. How do I know what ice cream I want to have? I don't know. What do you have? I don't know. Whatever. Something like that, kind of like that analogy. Okay, so my speaker was sitting on top of my laptop. So I had to sync phone to laptop and pull the music up from the laptop, but going back and forth is so much harder. Oh, wow. Anybody that done this that can? Do you get any of that, Deborah?
Well, if you're using a laptop and you just need music, can you not have it on your phone and just play it from your computer?
Maybe that share screen from Zoom. There's a thing where you can share your screen and maybe have that as you sharing it, something that's in your computer, right?
Yeah.
Putting in lay terms.
Yes.
So that might be a way to do it. And here's Hollywood Rabbi talking about the teamwork making the dream work. Thank you. It does. It really does. And so let me see. Here's our friend. Thank you so much for the webinar. I hope this is all over soon. I'm looking, not the webinar, but, but the situation. I'm not looking forward to the new normal. Well, again, like Deborah has the optimistic thing. Deborah, optimism again, because that's what I thought, Deborah. Sprinkle the fairy dust on this. We're okay, we're going on a journey. We're making this happen. We can make whatever we want. We just have to kind of look at all the tools to see what's available in the ice cream store. But anyway, then we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it, and we're gonna make it together. And I really want to say this, and I know it's crazy, but I really give it to teachers, because this was like we were catapulted into something that was so out there. And, you know, and teachers had to by themselves figure this thing out and weave this whole thing, you know, and it was amazing. It was just amazing what the teachers were doing. I've seen discussions that was amazing what you've done, what you created, where you went. I'm really like in awe, and I'm so honored to be a teacher, because I'm, you know, just know so many people that, you know, can go so far in adversity, our own thing. We all have something going on, but we were like, you know, for our students, we'll pull it all aside and focus on the kids and do it. And I love that. I just love the spirit of teachers. It's just, you know, we were born to do great, and we're doing it. You know, it's just, you know, it's a little while to get to it, you know, to get used to this, but we're gonna do it, and we're going to prepare. So that's my idea.
So I shared a document. I hope it opens correctly, because I don't usually do that from my phone, but it's a Google Doc. There's a lady named Katie Bell, and she is a Google certified trainer, and she has her own website and Facebook and YouTube and all that, but she shared for free at the beginning of quarantine her Google for Teachers. And so it's a document that just is kind of like a teacher's guide for what does Google look like for you. And then there's a Google for Students too. I haven't shared that one yet, but so that will at least give you kind of a heads up, and we'll kind of look at some things next time with Google Classroom, but that would be a document to start with. And her page is called Shake Up Learning, and she is great. So if you want more, you can sign up for her newsletter. Her classes and some things she charges for, but she gives out a ton of free material. And so Shake Up Learning is her thing.
So Deborah made comments of this video, because I know there's a lot. I mean, I'm learning all these things, and I'm having. It's hard for me to write it all down. But this video will be in my channel and the comments, if you don't mind adding.
Well, I shared the document in the YouTube, and I just shared her page. Well, not her page, but it just says Shake Up Learning. So you just have to Google that, and then it should come. Yeah.
When you say you shared it on YouTube, on your channel, do you have a channel? Is that?
I don't.
Okay.
No, I just put it on your comments.
In my box?
On the comments.
On the comments of the video.
Yep, it's right there.
I didn't know.
Shake Up Learning.
I thought that my comments for the video just get available after I end my session and release it. Okay, great. That's even better. And then, you know what I mean? If anybody wants to, you know, share, I don't know if people can be putting links into the comments, but you can put, you know, if you have, you know, I don't know. I have an Instagram account. Is DJ Silene. If anybody wants to share, hook up with me there and send me messages. It's good. And then if anything, like you guys want to share Facebooks or whatever, don't put the link, but maybe put your name that it's there and people will find, I guess. Something like that, right?
It doesn't look like the link works for me. So if we're to put it on there, because it didn't show up on the actual one. I don't know if it's on the YouTube side, because I can see it on my phone, but I can't see it on the
YouTube doesn't want people leaving the YouTube to go into other things. So they don't want people putting links on the comments, because that would bring the person somewhere else or whatever. They are kind of protective about that. So somehow maybe the name or something that we could possibly put on a search and find.
I did. I put Shake Up Learning.
Excellent.
So that's Katie Bell. So yeah, it looks like Ronit, I hope I said that correctly, says that she found it. So.
Oh, great. Thank you, Verna. Okay, so not to make this too long, because again, I honor people's times, and we went, and I wanted to do for about an hour and a half, which we have done. And I want to thank you so much, Deborah. And
you're welcome.
And everybody that's on this chat with us and came to see this, and everybody that eventually might see it or not, but it doesn't matter. I learned so much, and I feel so much better about things, and my anxiety went like, because I know people on my team, and that's all I need to know. I need to know there's people that will, you know, support, and then I can go and do the things that I want to do. So I'll let you say. Go ahead.
Before we leave, Silene, I just wanted to thank you for setting this up for us. Thank you, because I know our community is strong and our community is always so willing to help. And I agree with you. I think the more we know we're not alone.
Yeah. Yes.
The more the anxiety comes down and the more open we are to try new things. Deborah, thank you so much for sharing today, because I know bringing us up to just those little tips will make a world of difference in our teaching. And I know if this has to be our new normal, I'm just grateful for people like you that are willing to open your hearts and share and remind us that we're not alone, that we're in this together, that our hearts are where they need to be, and as long as we remember that our focus is still our kids.
Yeah.
Then we're going to get through this. Then we're going to get through this together. So I want to thank you so much.
Thank you, Irma.
And I do hope that these continue, because I know this has been very helpful. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming and being here with us and helping discuss. And, everybody is welcome, to come up and discuss next time. If you want to do it and have a topic, you can always email me. Send a message on Instagram, DJ Silene, friend me there, send me a message. If you find me in one of those groups, Silene Corn, you can also do that. And I hope we can continue doing this and moving forward. I love that everybody was so positive, and that's what it is. Focus on the kids. Don't be the teacher that you want your kids to have, and go and move on, and then try to make this a better place. And that's where we're going. And I'm excited now that I have Deborah that has this idea that this is so amazing. And I want to kind of, like I told her on our little message, that she had such a positive comment. And I said, I want to be in this mind frame, and I'm almost there. It's so good to have somebody that has a vision for it, a positive vision for it. And you say, okay, that is possibility. And I really, really thank everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast. Just any final words, Deborah, before I end?
No, I love all the comments that I'm seeing are just so positive, and everybody's doing so great. So remember, it's just little steps at a time, and everything for students. That's what it comes down to. So
yes, and I'm gonna end the way I always end my classes. And it was so cute because I had a kid that at the end, after we sang the goodbye song, goodbye everybody, I'm glad you came today. And then I had a student who was like, so I wouldn't forget to go, and always remember, I love you. And they love that. And who doesn't want to be loved? I don't know. Right? Anyway, thank you so much again. I'm going to end it, and I hope to see you guys very, very soon. Bye.
All right.
Thank you.